Hi guys, Joel Portsmouth, Solutions Consultant from IT Smart Solutions here today. We're going to be going through a brief demo and training session of Microsoft Bookings, which is a fantastic booking and scheduling tool built into Microsoft 365's Business Suite. So I'm going to be recording my screen today. I've set up a brand new account so that you can follow the process with me from scratch every step of the way, just as if you're a new user yourself. We'll take a look at what it looks like and how it works. So let's get started by signing into Office 365. You can come to office.com to do that. There's also login.microsoftonline.com as well that will take you to the same place. There's quite a few buttons and different URLs throughout the Microsoft websites that will all point you to the same place. So we'll click sign in here, and I will just sign into the account that I've made for our demonstration today, and then we will get going. Now, of course, those security steps that I skipped there purely for the demonstration of this video, and then as I've made a test account. But for a proper corporate account, your personal account that you're using, absolutely you should be enabling those security settings there. So you should be adding a secondary set of contact details like a mobile phone number, and then enabling two-factor authentication, which means as well as having a password, you also then need to enter an SMS PIN to log in as well. And there's been some fantastic research both by Google and Microsoft to show that that reduces account compromise by 99%, and it's also a key step in the 8 steps as part of the Essential 8 framework that the Australian Centre for Cybersecurity have put out as well, which is a framework for Australian small businesses to prevent cyber attacks. But that aside, for the demonstrations of this video, I've not got that enabled, so we're going to get on with the testing. So you'll see on your homepage, your Office 365 dashboard, you've got all your tiles down the left-hand side here of your different Microsoft Office applications. There are quite a lot, particularly if you have higher tiers of licensing which enable you to have access to more products, and it may be that this icon is not showing, or it gets pushed off the screen, especially as it sometimes reorders your favorite icons, or applications that you're using of most preference or you're using most frequently closer to the top. So this abstract sort of looking B icon here is the bookings icon, but if that weren't showing for you, you've got the menu or the app launcher in this top left hand corner here. It's this 3x3 grid of 9 dots, and so if we were to click on that, again, it gives you a small sample of applications here, but you can go to all apps and then you'll get this entire list here of all of the applications available with your Microsoft 365 business license. Obviously bookings beginning with a B, it's nice and easy, it's at the top there. So we'll click on that. Again, apologies, like I said, I am going through these security steps for the sake of the demonstration, but as an aside, these are something that I would highly recommend that you're enabling. And if you are getting messages like this on your account at the moment, please reach out so that we can configure the appropriate security steps for you to make sure that those are in place. Sorry, so as I was mentioning, I was just taking a moment to navigate through some of those security settings there. So as a normal user, continuing on throughout the process, if you've not used bookings before, you'll come to sort of this start page here if you've not made a bookings calendar previously. So you've got this sort of teal get it now button, obviously the teal green being the same color that matches the bookings icon in the app launcher before. So let's click get now to get started. It's a pretty straightforward process in terms of getting started. So we'll add a booking calendar if you've not got one before. It sort of just asks you to tell us about your business, so a business name and a business type. Now don't fret too much about the information you put in here, as this can be edited at a later date, so it's not permanent, or you're not sort of going to run into issues if the information you put in here now is not what you would like the information to reflect later. So I'm just going to name this bookings test, for example, for the sake of this demonstration, and you'll see here it'll just take a moment in the browser to create the bookings calendar, and then here we are. So the first thing that I want to highlight, obviously this entire piece of software is browser based, which is a fantastic benefit. It means that you can log in from a PC in an internet cafe, or possibly in a hotel, or you can borrow someone else's device. You're not relying on having an offline desktop application or a program installed. So these sort of Office Online or web browser, web-based type solutions are really modern, and we're starting to see more and more of them. Now, you'll notice in this top right hand corner, you've got the try the new bookings button here. And the great thing about the software as a service model of Microsoft 365, in that you're paying for a monthly subscription, is the software development life cycle is constantly evolving. And so gone are the days where you would go to JB Hi-Fi or Officeworks and pay quite a large upfront fee for, say, Office 2010 with a license key and a CD, and you would install that, and you would have the 2010 version that would stay the same with no changes, no updates, and that would continue possibly on till the next release, which is may have been Office 2013, and then 2016, and then 2019. And so there was always this gap of you're possibly 3 years behind, if not more. With this SaaS model, one of the amazing benefits of Microsoft 365 is that daily you're getting new updates. You're always up to date. You don't need to worry about running updates. Microsoft does all of this on the back end for you, so you're constantly getting the bleeding edge in functionality improvements and benefits from Microsoft. Now, in terms of the new bookings versus the old bookings, and this isn't just isolated to bookings, but across a lot of the Office 365 products, Microsoft will take user feedback as well as looking at things internally, and as a user, there are plenty of channels that you can submit feedback and your thoughts and opinions to Microsoft on a product. But what they will do is they will develop these new user interfaces. Now this often comes down to a lot of personal preference. I certainly know that if there's a product, it doesn't even necessarily have to be a Microsoft product, that you're working in every day, you're really familiar with, what it looks like, where all the buttons are, what everything does, it can be quite a large change, and quite difficult, and a bit of a steep learning curve to all of a sudden, change the entire way of doing things and the way things looks. Now, that being said, there are instances where the new version, is a massive improvement. You might absolutely be in love with it. It's fantastic. It works a whole lot better. Other times it's it might even be something in between, in that for certain things you prefer the new version and others you don't. So I guess I'd implore you to try both. Keep aware of new versions that are being offered, test them out, see what you think of them. It may improve your user experience, but obviously know that you do have the option to then toggle back to the old version if it doesn't work for you. So bookings on that step. So let's get started. So what bookings allows us to do is create an external bookings or scheduling calendar that can be shared internally, it can be shared externally, and it allows people to book appointments in your calendar on your behalf. And what's fantastic about that, it's a really modern way of it. It eliminates the back and forth of phone calls and emails of are you free on this date? Are you free at this time? What about this? And then you book something with someone and then realize, oh, sorry, I've double booked myself. And bookings is a fantastic way, because it syncs with your Outlook calendar. Is a fantastic way to present your calendar to someone and give them an overview of your availability that allows them to, see which days and times you are available without needing to ask questions. So it really cuts down on that admin time in terms of booking appointments. It increases efficiency, because you're not forgetting about appointments, making dates, having double bookings, running late, these sorts of things. But I think it's also, a really sort of personalized touch from a sales point of view, in that people, really feel important and wanted, and there's a real connection of here's my personal calendar, take a look and book in whenever suits you. I'm giving you the access and the method to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to the booking page here and publish my bookings calendar on this test account. Now obviously I've not configured this or changed this or set any of this up yet, and we will get to that in a moment, but I will just show you sort of so that you have an understanding from the get-go of what this looks like. So I'll take a copy paste of this link here and open it up in a new tab, and what you will see in a moment once it loads here is my bookings calendar. Now at the moment it looks pretty bare, but the details that I'm going to go into next are really sort of going to show the additional capabilities and how powerful this solution is, and all kinds of things that you can do with it. So the first thing I think we'll take a look at is what's called the services function, and you'll notice this initial consult button up the top here. Now, and actually look, while I'm on the page, actually before I go to services, so you'll notice you can change the color theme of this page. So this default navy blue can be changed. There's some preset themes here, but you can actually select a custom color theme and then put in the RBG or the hex code for your colors, and then there's also the option to upload an image, a business logo. So this starts to have a really personalized look where the colors and the logos are uniform across all of your other sales and marketing collateral and websites, and it looks really quite sort of polished and professional. So let's come to this services tab here as I was speaking. So in terms of bookings, a service is referring to a type of an appointment. that you're allowing a customer or you're allowing someone to book. So as in a service offering you're having. So with this initial consult here, you might have a meeting type, as it says, that's an initial consult that normally takes you an hour. And so you define, if we come into this, you define, and again, it can be named whatever you want. Initial consult, 1 hour. You can set your price, your notes, things like that, and save that, and you're good to go. However, let's say that not all of your meetings are initial consults that take an hour with a new customer. Sometimes maybe you've got just a 15 or a 30-minute catch up with an existing client, once a month, just to see how things are going. So we could then create an additional service. Let's just call this catch up. Come down to the duration, change this to say 15 minutes. We'll save here without changing sort of too many other settings. I'll go into those later. If we come back to my calendar now and do a refresh, what you'll now see is there's this 15-minute catch-up option as well. And I think this is really powerful because there's lots of different types of meetings that we all have. And they vary in duration and reason, and as someone running a business, if it's an external customer that you're booking with, they may vary in price as well. And so I think it's great to be able to define different types of meetings and their requirements that people can book. It really personalizes the feel of the meeting, but it makes things easier for yourself from your perspective to manage your schedule. So I'll just come back into the services tab here and go into sort of some of the further details that I didn't touch on before. So the default location, you could fill this out with an address. So if it's an in-person meeting, your initial consult, the default location might be the physical address of your office. It might be a cafe, it might be your client's office, whatever that may be. Obviously in COVID, that's not often a possibility anymore. This fantastic toggle button here, add online meeting, automatically integrates with Microsoft Teams and creates that as an online meeting for you. And I think there's lots of sort of third-party solutions out there that do similar things to bookings. Calendly is an example that comes to mind, and I think where bookings and the Microsoft 365 suite as a whole really excels is that integration across the suite, across all the products, and so the ability to streamline IT costs by not needing to pay for a third-party calendar app on top of Microsoft Office for your Word, PowerPoint, Excel, but to actually fully commit to Microsoft 365 and modern workplace technology and Calendly or whatever alternative it is that you're using. Bookings can then replace that, and so I think Microsoft 365 really needs to start to sort of be viewed more as it's not just a productivity suite, it's an overall solution. It's an overall business solution with a wide variety of capabilities across all aspects of businesses, and this is just one example of that. As opposed to, if you had Calendly or some sort of other third party, calendar or booking solution, and obviously not to speak ill of those, and plenty of people use those, and that's fine for them. And then, possibly for your online meetings, you might be using Zoom or Google Hangouts, and you then end up in this situation where you're paying lots of money. You've got multiple subscriptions to multiple software vendors all over the place. Do they mesh well together? Are they compatible? You know, you run into these troubles, and I think this is one of a myriad of examples where, you know, for one flat, cheap, recurring cost, you know, you have a suite that provides all of these options for you, and they all integrate together nicely. Now, the next feature that I want to look at that I think is really important, and one that I utilize myself, is this buffer time. And so a buffer time is, you know, if you've got an hour meeting, and let's say it's from 1 p.m. till 2 p.m., you don't then necessarily want another client coming to your bookings calendar and booking another 1 hour appointment straight after from, you know, 2 p.m. then till 3 p.m. And then, you know, you could even have a third one from 3 p.m. till 4 p.m. And you know, next thing you know, you've had 3 hours worth of back-to-back meetings from 1 through 4 p.m., you know, without a break, without a chance to get up and stretch your legs, get a glass of water, whatever it may be. And so the buffer feature automatically blocks off a small portion of time, both before and or after the meeting, that won't allow other people to book into that time. So, you know, a great example would maybe be 5 minutes before the meeting for a buffer, you know, to make sure that your webcams are working and everything looks great and you're ready to go. And then maybe a 15-minute buffer afterwards, you know, to finish writing up your notes about the meeting, your meeting notes, you know, your summary, possibly send, you know, a follow-up email, things like that you might do. So it's just a great tool to sort of allow yourself to, you know, not necessarily be, you know, overwhelmed. Again, this is granular. It can be defined by service. So certain types of meetings, you know, like the little 15-minute catch-up that we created here, you know, you might find that that's not intensive whatsoever. You know, you don't, there's no need for note taking, you know, it's all done remotely. You might not need a buffer time for that, you know, and so you could set zero buffer time and have, you know, as many of those back to back as you want. But with the initial console, you know, it's a long time, it's quite intensive, lots of thinking to do, you know, and so that's the kind of meeting you might want to set a buffer for. Again, it's all up to your personal preference. I think it's what makes this such a powerful tool is, you know, bookings really is a platform, and it's up to you to customize how you want to use it. You know, it's not a sort of preset thing. It's a platform, and really the possibilities are endless in terms of how you want to use it and configure it in with your workflow. Now, this let customers manage their appointment when it was booked by you or their staff, is the kind of thing that lets customers, for example, change the time or change the location. So, you know, if for some reason, you know, maybe they've got a 10:30 to 11 a.m. appointment and they go, oh, you know, sorry, I'm double booked. Can I actually, you know, change that to 11 to 11:30, something like that? Or, you know, sorry, I can't make it to the city. Can we do it at this address instead? And so rather than them needing to contact you and get you to do that from your side as the meeting administrator or the meeting owner, or you know, going to your bookings page and then creating a second booking or a second meeting at their new proposed time, this allows the customer to manage the appointment and have some of that control themselves. Now, I did touch on the price feature before, and look, there's some great options here. It doesn't necessarily have to be a fixed price. You know, it can be free, it can vary, you know, it can be hourly starting out. Again, these are all things that are entirely up to you to customize. Now, these reminders and confirmations are great. It sends email reminders beyond the calendar invite automatically to a customer, and you can customize these yourself with whatever message it is that you would like. Where I think this is really great, take for example, you're in the recruitment industry, and you're using bookings to book a meeting with a candidate, or a job interview of sorts, and you need them to bring a resume or a CV, or sometimes these people sort of even need 100 points of ID. This email reminder is a fantastic way of customizing the email reminder and saying, thanks for booking with us. We're looking forward to seeing you in a week. Just a reminder that you please, as discussed, bring XYZ with you on the day. So all those sort of, little things that sometimes slip through the cracks, and, oh, sorry, I forgot to bring this with me, or, I didn't do this beforehand. These reminders are just a nice way that you can sort of subtly, put reminders about your process into these things, just to kind of help that process along, I think, and that's really powerful in my opinion. Now you've got the default scheduling policy, but I'm going to untick this, and this is basically where you can customize the increments in which people can book in your calendar. So obviously 30-minute increments means that your calendar is going to be available in 30-minute blocks. So 10 till 10:30, 10:30 to 11, 11 till 11:30. Again, this is totally personal preference. Some sorts of small, one-to-one catch-ups, or sort of agile scrums or huddles, 30 minutes might be too much. It could even be as low as sort of 5 or 10. Personally, I think 15 minutes is sort of a happy medium. You can still sort of have those 30-minute meetings, but it just allows you to do, say something like 10:15 till 10:45. You're not sort of confined to that 30-minute block only of 10 to 10:30, 10:30 to 11. Now, the minimum lead time, again, personal preference, but this is really important. You don't want to sort of, well, you may. Again, I guess that's the power of bookings, and how eager you are and what your preference is. But you wouldn't necessarily, for some people, say the times 4 p.m. now, you wouldn't want someone to necessarily maybe be able to book in a meeting at 4:30 p.m. That then leaves you 30 minutes that same day. You're sort of scrambling. You go, I'm in the middle of something. I haven't done my preparation. I'm not ready. I've got things going on, and so that might not be suitable. And so the minimum lead time of 24 hours, sort of says, well, if it's 4 p.m. on the 18th today, the earliest that this person can book in my calendar is now 4 p.m. the 19th, so the next day. And so customize this to your liking, but I do find that most people, want to leave at least, a little small window of time, so that you're sort of not caught off guard and really run off your feet trying to get to these meetings, without a whole lot of notice ahead of time. And so similarly, the maximum lead time is how far in advance someone can book in your calendar. So 365 days obviously means, today's 18th of July 2021. So in this instance, this would allow someone to make a booking in my calendar 18th of July 2022. So a year away, 365 days away. So it's up to you, your preference, depends sort of how far in advance you're working. For people sort of maybe in a finance industry that are working on quarters or 6 months, or a financial year, that sort of 3 month, 6 month, 12 month interval could work. For others longer, others shorter, again entirely customizable. You know, you just sort of want to be aware of if the lead time's incredibly short, you know, only say maybe 7 days or 14 days. If someone's busy for the next 2 weeks, but your maximum lead time's 14 days, they're not going to be able to make a booking, you know, in 3 weeks time or 4 weeks time when they're free. So you obviously want to have enough leeway, but you don't want to have it as well as someone can book an appointment with you in 5 years time or 10 years time, or, you know, some sort of ridiculous, you know, incredibly far date in the future. So the email notifications settings here sends the bookee an email notification. It also sends one to you. You can also then send a meeting invite, and I think that's a good addition to have, because obviously as they accept the meeting invite, it then puts it into their calendar and gives them a reminder as such as well. So probably the last feature I want to touch on this page is this custom fields, and this is something I think is really important and really powerful. So obviously, sort of the standard information you're going to need to get from someone to book an appointment with them and then be able to contact them is, you know, their name, their email, their phone number. But what this custom fields allows you to do is add questions of your own in text and drop down form, and so, you know, as part of your inbound sales process or your inbound leads process, you might have lots of qualifying questions that this does a fantastic job of gauging for you beforehand when someone books the meeting, so you're sort of going into the meeting prepared and not being blindsided, but it also, you know, helps you keep a record of this information. So you know, a fantastic example might be if you're someone that specializes in small business only, you know, a required question you could have on the customized fields is, you know, how many employees in your business. And so when someone makes a booking, you know, along with their name, their email, their phone number, it also tells you how many staff in their business. And so ahead of time, you know, you might see, it's 10, it's 25, you go, great, you know, it's small to medium sized business. Or, you know, the number might be 750 and you go, wow, you know, that's sort of a large business, you know, bordering on enterprise, you know, corporation. That might not be quite my speed. Another one that I think is sort of fantastic in terms of gauging marketing is a question such as, how did you hear about us? You know, and so people might be putting things such as, you know, I was referred by an existing customer of yours, such and such. They could be putting, you know, I saw an ad for you on Google. I saw a post on LinkedIn, and you know, obviously throughout the year you're accumulating all this data from all your bookings, and this allows you to then, you know, take a look and go, you know, in terms of evaluating your marketing strategy, you know, wow, we got X percentage of leads from this source this year. You know, the marketing on this side is working really well. We're getting a great return on investment, you know, but we're not getting too many leads from this source here. So I'll just show as an example what this looks like in the calendar itself here for you. So we'll just make this brief question, and then what we'll do is we'll set it as required. So obviously if a question's not required, someone can leave it blank and still create the booking. So I guess how critical that response is to you, or how important that information is, whether it's a non-starter or not, is up to you, you know, as to whether you set it as required or not. So we'll press OK there and swap back to the calendar tab and just do a refresh there. And so what we will do, I might need to, save the service there. Let's try that again, refreshing the calendar. Now you can see down the bottom, provide additional information, how many employees in your business. So when someone goes to, pick my calendar, as well as their name, email, phone number, you've got this here as well. Now, one other thing that I'll touch on, as you can see here, and Bookings Test is just the name that I've made for this test, but this can be configured for multiple staff. So, if you've got multiple consultants or multiple people in a team, this doesn't need to necessarily be isolated to one person. And so in the staff tab here, you can configure staff and their individual availabilities. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to untick, for example, use business hours. By default, business hours is 8 till 5. And what I think is great about this is it allows you the ability to, let's say, Friday, you find that you're exhausted. It's a long week. Your brain power is not quite there. Your concentration, your focus isn't quite there. You're not as pepped up and ready to go as a Monday, and so you might go, you know what, I'm happy to do 9 to 5 every other day, but on Fridays, I'm going to make my last appointment at 3 in the afternoon or something like that. You might even do, instead of 9 to 5, you have every day as 9 to 4, so that you're leaving yourself an hour of admin. So you don't necessarily need to have all 40 hours or however many hours it is that you work a week entirely open to be booked. If there's a day that you do on site, or at a customer's, you can block that day out. If you work part-time, you can block those days out too. You can even enable weekends if that's something that you do. Now, this tick box here, events on Office Calendar affect availability, so it does sync with your Outlook calendar. You can turn that off. Generally, I know for myself and from the preference of customers, I see that's sort of something that people want to keep on, so that you don't sort of have confusion and end up with double bookings. But what you'll notice here as well is, so there's sort of this slight customization that you can have around a person's name and how they look in the drop down. And what I might do in the booking page, sorry, I might come to the new user interface here, as I think it handles this a little better. As when we come into edit staff, there's even sort of options to create sort of little bios. So you can sort of have a little bit of information about what each person does, or what their role is within the business. And so when you're looking at that calendar link and going through the drop downs and choosing, do I want to book with this person, that person, that person, there's sort of that overview of a little bit about what each person does, and that might possibly guide the decision making in terms of who someone chooses to book with. Of course, if it's someone that knows you or has spoken to you already, or an existing customer with a relationship already, they're probably going to book with their account manager or their person that they know already. But if this is a sort of complete brand new lead sort of coming in off the street, you could have a little bio of each staff that sort of say, this person specializes in this and this person specializes in that. and the lead coming in based on what their query is, they might sort of be looking through this list and go, this person specializes in the type of thing that my query is about, and so I'll book a meeting with them. So it sort of allows you to tailor. It's not just a blank list of names that they have no idea who they all are in comparison to each other. You can sort of break that down a little bit, and give people a little bit of insight into who they're working with. Now, this region and time zone setting as well is something that is really important that I like to mention. And so you can tick this box and always show time slots in business time zone. So the business time zone is the time zone that you set for your business that you're in. Not necessarily a problem if, say, you work in Sydney and all your clients are Sydney based, you're all on the same time zone, that's fine. But if you're working with people internationally or interstate, and your bookings page is providing them with dates and times in the Sydney time zone, they're then sort of running into the issue of, well, they need to do mental math and write, what time is that Sydney time in my time here in Paris or London or wherever it may be, and so leaving that unenabled means that jumping into the bookings calendar, it will actually pick up the time zone that the person booking the appointment is in, and it will automatically do that time zone conversion for you. And it's a very minor feature, but I think the smarts that Microsoft has to do that, it's minor, but I think it has a really big impact. If you're really scaling your business and working across time zones, across states, across countries, little things like this, ease of use for people to book meetings. It's just all part of this overall suite, really promoting things to run smoothly for businesses and make things like this easy for you. Now, the other thing here that is worth mentioning, and again, it's going to vary from business to business, and also what information you're gathering with those custom fields that I mentioned before, is obviously you are collecting, at least by default, the default fields is, customer name, email, phone number. With the customized fields, there may even be additional information that you are then asking for. So there is the sort of ability to have sort of a message there about data collection. You can even actually include a URL to your business's personal privacy policy if you may have that on your website. It's dependent on the data that you're asking for, particularly if you are utilizing those customized fields and asking for more data that may be potentially sensitive, and also obviously sort of comes down to the security inside of your Office 365 and how that data in bookings is secured and is stored. Definitely something worth reaching out to us from an IT security perspective, and probably also sort of consulting with HR and legal internally, if that's something that you would like to utilize. Now, the business details here, again, the privacy policy URL that I mentioned there before, currency, if you are utilizing the price feature in the services, like I mentioned, currency, again, that's similar to that time zone feature that I mentioned. If you're in Australia and someone's booking a meeting and they're in the States, again, it's, you know, doing these conversions between US dollars to AU dollars. So that's something that's you know, important to look at. You know, your terms and conditions URL can possibly be listed as well. So not just your privacy policy, but other terms and conditions that you may have access to or want people to read as well. So you've got your logo, like I mentioned, your business hours. Again, there is a bit of an overlap between the different UIs. You know, lots of things in the old UI and the new bookings UI are quite the same. So I'm just sort of going to take a look at a few further things here that I've not covered with you. Customers. This feature does allow you to actually add customers on your own and make bookings for them on their behalf, and it will send them the reminders and the emails all the same as if they booked it externally, so they were coming to your calendar, but you can do it actually the other way around, so you add their details and book it for them on their behalf. So that might be the kind of thing that's good for, you know, an existing customer that you already have a relationship with, and you've maybe got, you know, you do a monthly or a, you know, quarterly catch up or a review. You can book that on their behalf. But obviously, like I said, you know, new sales lead, complete stranger coming in off the street that you don't know their details, they'll obviously be accessing the bookings page externally and booking that themselves rather than you doing it. Now, time off is another one, and again, the syncing with Outlook feature may well take care of this on its own. If you book out your Outlook calendar for, you know, however many days or weeks it is that you are off for leave, then it will sync through to the bookings calendar and you won't need to use this function, but it is there if you know, want to take advantage of it, or depending on your workflows, how you do things. Now, obviously, at the moment, under staff, I've just got myself. You can actually add additional staff, and depending on the permissions that you configure, people can view other people's calendars. You can even give them permissions beyond just viewing, such as editing, so they can book and modify appointments in a staff member's calendar on their behalf. So that is the kind of thing that possibly, you know, if a manager has a team of people under them and direct reports, you know, the manager may be someone that has that ability and those permissions in terms of the staff that report to them beneath them as team members in their bookings calendar. Now I'm just going to come to managing staff here, and again, with the services being assigned, so the services that I defined before, you know, initial consult or catch up or whatever it may be, you can assign certain services to certain staff members. So when someone's looking at the page, you know, they can't just necessarily book an initial consult with anyone, you know, or everyone in the business. So, you know, if you've got a particular team that looks after inbound leads, a sales team, they would be the kind of people that you would set them up as staff in bookings. You'd come into the services tab and configure the services that they're assigned to, and make sure that when people are looking at that external bookings page, that only those people are allowed in the bookings page to have the initial consult booked with them. So, and again, all these, you know, user accounts and teams and departments all tie into the identity management and permissions that are already built into Office 365. You know, so the integration again, you know, is just another great feature that makes, you know, this a really fantastic modern workplace solution. So I think sort of what the last thing I will do here is to sort of show you uh, the how to access the link here. So you save and publish your link, and it's given to you as a plain text link here uh, to share this bookings page with people. What I think is really allows you to sort of stand out and differentiate yourself from other people is you don't necessarily need to just send this link as a plain text hyperlink, where it's sort of blue and underlined, and they click on it and it becomes purple, and it just looks like a regular old boring link for people to book appointments with you. It is a link, but if you open your sort of mind to the possibilities of what you can do with links, you could have a inbound leads, or a sort of a contact us button on a website. It could be a big button that says book an appointment with us here, and on the back end your web developer sort of does some code that then has that button redirect to this hyperlink. I've seen examples of people putting this link in their email signature. So anytime they're emailing with someone, you can sort of just refer to them and say, hey, if you want to book a meeting, just click the link below and book a time in. So you can have it as text, you could have it in an email signature, you can hyperlink it to images, you could have a book now button, you could have a little calendar symbol button. If you wanted to even go so far, if you've got a business domain, so mycompany.com.au, you could even do some smarts around the domain hosting or the DNS records, which we could help with, or your web developer could help with, where you can make sort of a redirect or a pointer record, and so you could have a custom domain, bookings.mycompany.com.au, and it then forwards to this link here below your bookings link that I'm mentioning, or calendars.mycompany.com.au, or contact us. It's really, the possibilities are endless, but I personally, I sort of love the idea of tying things into the professional business domain, and then by having those sort of addresses like that, it really sticks in people's minds. It's easy to remember, rather than a big long address, with lots of numbers and symbols and slashes. It's bookings.mycompany.com.au. It's easy. It's easy. People remember it. It's easy to access. And I think that looks sort of really professional, really polished. And it's easy for people to remember, which I think is, in terms of sales and importance, and links are going everywhere between all sorts of people, and people are often contacting multiple companies when they're searching for a solution. And I feel like bookings is and this type of thing is something that really makes you stand out, and is a way that is possibly going to generate you more leads, and winning more of those leads, and more revenue. So this booking page here, and then the save and publish button is what's going to give you the link. You copy the link, and as you can see here, you put it on your clipboard, and from there, do with that what you will. You can see you've sort of got some little quick share buttons here for Facebook, Twitter, and email. Again, this really, could extend to Instagram, TikTok, any type of social media. there's all sorts of things you can do with links. You could even have a QR code point to this link, and someone scans the QR code and it brings them to this page to book an appointment with you. So I think really open your mind to the possibilities of what you can do with this, and how you can use it to manage booking appointments with customers and with your team, and potentially new customers as well. Now the final thing I will add, and it's very minor, in terms of using your browser. This is another personal preference thing, similar to me talking before about the new or the old bookings toggle switch here, the user interface, and whether that's your preference. Lots of people have their own preference for a browser, and that's totally fine. I'm using Firefox at the moment. As you can see from this demo, the product has worked in Firefox with zero issue whatsoever, and it's the exact same for Chrome. However, I will say that in the very, very rare instance that you may run into some sort of an issue with any sort of web-based product in Microsoft 365, whether it be bookings or something else, our best recommended first troubleshooting step, if you're in Firefox or Chrome, would be to try the same thing again in Edge. And again, I must stress it's incredibly rare that this happens. 365 is a great product, and its universal compatibility across Firefox and Chrome is fantastic. Likewise, these days with Safari and Mac as well, it's no longer isolated as just a Windows only product or an Internet Explorer / Edge product, and I would have no problem recommending to anyone continuing to use the product in Firefox or Chrome. But like I said, very, very rare edge cases. If you do run into some sort of small niggly issue, try it in Edge, and it may be the kind of thing that resolves your issue, purely because obviously Edge is a Microsoft developed product, as is Office 365, and so there's sort of some of that compatibility there, Microsoft product to Microsoft product, and it is designed to operate most optimally in Edge, despite obviously Mozilla for Firefox and Google for Chrome both operating fantastically. So I think that's going to be it for today. Look, Bookings is an incredibly vast product, as all of the products in the Office 365 suite are, and so I could absolutely go on for hours. I'm sure there's lots of things that I didn't cover, and so I'd implore you, we're more than happy to assist anyone with further demonstrations and further training. It's our pleasure. We also have existing training resources just like this that we have already done, both in written form and recordings in videos like this, and this will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. And so if you are watching this via YouTube, I'd highly recommend that you check out our other videos. There's many other training videos there, as well as webinars and all sorts of other things that we go over that not only talk about the amazing capabilities of Microsoft Office 365 and the great work that we do at IT Smart Solutions to enable businesses to really grow using these modern workplace technology solutions through Microsoft 365, and that's something that we're really passionate about. But we also talk about a whole heap of other relevant and interesting other aspects of IT as well that I think would be really beneficial for you all. So yeah, please, our website, itsmartsolutions.com.au. You can contact us via there, email, phone. Feel free to contact myself personally, Joel Portsmouth, like I mentioned. Like I said, and any extra queries about bookings, Microsoft 365, any IT issues in general. I hope you found this beneficial and you learned something. I hope that you can use bookings and Microsoft 365 to excel your business and work towards becoming a modern workplace. And yeah, thank you for your time. I appreciate you tuning in. Thank you very much. Bye.